Hey everyone, I'm Tony with Clarkson Santoro, and this is our weekly real estate update for September 16th. In this weekly series, we update you on the latest real estate trends that are occurring in our market here in San Ramon. Using our more than 50 combined years of experience helping clients buy and sell homes, we explain what these trends mean for you as a homeowner or as someone who is looking for a house that you will love to call home. The current inventory is 51 homes, down from 57 last week. The average asking price of those homes was $1,877,000, which is down from last week's average price of $1,983,000. 12 homes asking an average of $2,017,000 went pending this week. That is more pending homes than last week's number of 7, with a higher average asking price from last week's $1,701,000. A total of 22 homes sold this week, with an average sales price of $1,818,000. That average price was down from last week's average price of $1,974,000, and the total number of sold homes was higher than last week's 10. So now that we know how our market performed this week, let's look at the key metrics that we track to help us understand where the San Ramon real estate market might be heading. The first is inventory. Our inventory is now at the most normal inventory level we have seen since the beginning of the crazy pandemic market. 51 is as neutral as you can get, neither favoring buyers or sellers. What's most interesting about the inventory levels to us is that pending homes are not going crazy. So what that points to is that sellers are not as enthusiastic about entering into the fluctuating market. This indicator score came up to 47 last week, and we will raise the number again to 50 as we move into a normal inventory level. Directly related to inventory levels, the next metric we watch is market turnover. Like I just mentioned, we are not seeing nearly as many homes going pending, so our turnover rate dipped a little this week. We were over the 1.0 mark for a couple of weeks, but with the uncertainty that buyers are feeling after the inflation numbers were published, the turnover rate has dipped back below the 1.0 number to 0.92 times per month. Last week, we raised this score to 55, but this week we are lowering the score down to 47. The over-under asking price is the next indicator we track. That number did come up a little bit this week, but we are still seeing homes close at about 2.6% under the asking price. We did expect that number to come up in the next couple of weeks, and it still can come up a little bit. This is always a number that we need to take with a grain of salt because it is a stat that is about a month old. Last week we gave this indicator a score of 45, and this week we are leaving it at the same number. The last statistic that we watch is the average sales price. This sales price number came down a little bit this week, but not by much. I expect that we will see this average float around the 1.9 million range for the foreseeable future, as sellers and buyers are starting to see their expectations be more in line with each other. Last week we gave this indicator a score of 59, and this week we are lowering it slightly to 58. The first of two metrics that we pay attention to that help us predict where the market is heading is the strength of the Silicon Valley tech industry. The entire stock market had a little freak out on Tuesday with the publishing of the market inflation numbers. We typically focus on the QQQ fund because, more than anything, the tech industry appears to be the biggest source of employment for San Ramon home buyers. That fund did not suffer as much as the rest of the stock market, which is a good thing, but the overall stock market decline has cooled down what we would have classified previously as a recovering seller's market. This week, we are decreasing the score for this indicator from last week's 41 down to 35. The last indicator that helps us predict the housing market's future is interest rates. These rates had a dramatic reaction to the inflation report, just like the stock market. Rates have now gone above the 6% range for the first time in 14 years. This is going to be the biggest factor in how the market changes for the next few months. If this number remains in the 6s or higher, we will likely see housing prices start coming back down more. Last week we gave this indicator a score of 40, and this week we are lowering it to 36. Overall, we saw the housing market moving in a healthy direction over the past few weeks as buyers and sellers started to readjust their expectations to the new reality that we were back to a more normal market in general. This week gave a lot of people concern with the way the stock market and interest rates moved, and we will be watching that closely to see how our San Ramon market reacts. We expect it to cool down a little. Last week, we scored the overall market at 47, but this week we lowered it to 42. For sellers, that means with buyers starting to worry about the cost of their loans and the security of their investment portfolios, you will be under more pressure to present your home as perfectly as possible. I expect that buyers will be making bigger price adjustments in their heads for anything that needs to be updated or repaired in your house. For buyers, the big thing you are going to face is the cost of financing that we were talking about. Now with inventory back down to normal levels and no sign of a large influx of new homes coming, you will still likely have to fight with other buyers for that perfect home. However, if you can be patient or take on a little bit of a renovation work, you will be able to buy a home for a very reasonable price. I hope this weekly summary and commentary helped you understand how our market is affecting your options. Let me know down in the comments below or contact us directly if you have specific questions about how you can navigate this market to sell or buy a home. And if you find this information helpful, share it with a friend. Hit the like button and subscribe so that you'll always be up to date on the latest real estate news here in San Ramon. Have a safe weekend, and we'll see you next week with a new update.